Welcome to the Wealthy Woman by Design show with me, your host, Tierra Womack, where I have the honor of bringing guests on who inspire me to share their stories of stepping into a money mindset of wealth and speaking about how they embody human design in their business and in their life so they can have success on their terms. So today I have the lovely Charlett joining me. Charlett Albert is a highly sought after sales coach and feminine leadership mentor who has mastered the art of science and sales. That is so tricky. And this is through simple strategies combined with feminine energetics. Let's get into it. She's not only scaled her own business to six figures, but has helped dozens of female online entrepreneurs as well, with over 10 years of business experience in sales and marketing and growing multiple businesses of her own. She's now made it her mission to help online business owners have consistent sales with ease. So welcome to the show, Charlett.
Thank you so much, Tierra, for having me. I'm really excited for this conversation.
I am too. Okay, so Brave Wave family, Charlett and I met. We're actually in a mastermind together and we had a chat. We instantly connected. And so, now she's honoring all of us with her presence here on the show. And what I just love about you, Charlett, is your angle when it comes to sales. So talk to me a little bit about what makes feminine leadership and energetics so special and so needed, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to. Well, it actually came from back in the day, like a couple of years ago, when I started my business and I was in social selling as a new mom after 10 years of being a corporate sales trainer. And I was hustling and grinding because that's the way that I was taught. It was like, you have to do X amount of calls, you have to have X amount of conversations with people. It was really a numbers game. Just keep going, doing all the things. And I found myself so burnt out, not only being a new mom, but also running my own business. And I had this aha moment when my husband was sitting me down and was like, can you just be with me? And I couldn't just be. I always had to be productive. Everything had to have a purpose in my life. I couldn't just relax and be. And I knew something was off. I mean, I felt tired, I felt exhausted. So I actually hired a coach and was diving deep into the work of what it means to be a woman and what it means to tap into your feminine energy and tapping into your masculine energy, because we have both and both are equally important. But what we find in our society is that the masculine qualities are praised. And as women, we want to be praised, we want to be seen, we want to be loved, we want to be approved upon. So what do is we go really hard on those masculine qualities, which is checking things off the to-do list. It's like accomplishing our goals, always going for that next big milestone, being in our head and focused and being productive, because that's what we've been told that's the good thing, to make money. And when I learned to really tap into my feminine, I was so much more relaxed. I was so much more happy. I was focusing on building quality, heart-centered connection with people versus chasing the sale. Yeah. And what happened is that I attracted a very different kind of clientele into my programs. Very different people who are in it for the long game, who are not chasing the money, people who are believing in sustainable growth, and people who are willing to do the work, people who show up for themselves, not just for a quick fix, but really believing in playing the long game. And those people who put in the work, they got incredible results. They were writing testimonials. So just going on the feminine is being more into your body and really focusing on leaning more into your heart than always being in your head and chasing the number. So both of those have a purpose in different areas of life, but when you focus on the feminine side of sales, you really lean in with what are your strengths, what are you really good at, what makes you you. And then I always tell my clients, we put gasoline on the fire, like what are your strengths, what makes you so magnetic? And that's what we amplify in the online world, which is so noisy. There's a lot going on there, and really focus on the sales process that lights you up, where you get up in the morning and you are excited about selling, you're excited about showing up, you're excited to do the work because we figured out the way that really lights you up. And when you show up with that energy of loving every part of your business, you are so magnetic to ideal clients. They just feel the difference in you and they just want to be in your world.
Oh my gosh. Like, let's just like, I'm snapping my fingers over here. I know you all listening and can't see it, but you just hit on so much, Charlotte, because you and I spoke about this, coming from that corporate sales environment. And I think it's like not only coming from it, but being very successful in it. You learn, like you said, the numbers game. Like I was told a formula. I used to ask the number one and number two, sometimes the number three, like the top 1 to 3 people in the company, what they did on a daily basis to become number one, right? Number two, number three. And I literally followed that to a T, and I kid you not, and it wasn't even that difficult, then I would have the same success. So going now into the online business world, like you said, if you try to make it a numbers game, if you try to just stay within that masculine as women, it doesn't feel good. Like we know, that it doesn't feel good, but that's what we're taught. That's what we think we have to do. That's what we see people. And even if they are women, because I had some women leaders who did phenomenal, but they were very much tapped into that masculine side. And so I love how you pull the energetics of the feminine into sales, where I feel as though when you are in your feminine or you have that good balance with the masculine and feminine, it doesn't even feel like sales. It just feels like you get to show up and you're lit up, and we're both generators. So then it's like we get to be, have that sacral on fire, and God bless people like you who can help people really be in a place of acceptance of that feminine energy. Oh my God, it's mind blowing. Now, I touched on the fact that we are both generators, and I know for me, once I got into human design, it was hardest for me to wrap around as a generator, being in that energy of responding, especially because I don't want to say I've been taught to be a manifester, not by my family, because I was the first entrepreneur in my family, but I think I taught myself to be in that manifester initiating type of energy, which is completely against our strategy, right? To respond. So once you learned that you were a 6-2 generator, how did you see your human design show up in your world? Like if you could just pinpoint one thing that was like a whoa for you when it comes to, came to your business and in your life.
It was actually the same moment I learned about feminine, masculine energetics as when I tapped into my human design. So it was the same coach in our very first session. She read my chart and it taught me how to stop shooting all over myself, how I stopped doing what I think I'm supposed to do, this masculine energy forcing things, just doing the things that you're supposed to do versus really leaning into my sacral and be like, does this actually light me up to cold DMing 20 people?
Mm-hmm.
It feels gross. So when I learned to listen to my sacral and be like, it doesn't feel good in my body, I'm like, of course, like it doesn't work as well. I was like,
Right.
of course, like when I'm creating content that doesn't feel in alignment with who I am, when I'm trying to, back in the day, I would look at what other successful people were posting, and I tried to, took pieces. I didn't copy and paste completely, but I took pieces of it, but it didn't feel in alignment. I'm like, oh, of course this piece of content didn't convert, like the moment I learned how to really listen to my sacra and be like, does this piece of content light me up? I'm like, yes, it's amazing. And like that piece of content that gets saves or shares and like, or people come into the DMs. Not every post has that kind of feedback, but it just feels so much better when you work your business in alignment with your human design, that it becomes pleasurable without feeling the pressure and the pain. And like, it's not only unicorns and rainbows, I'm not saying that, but it just feels so much better. You feel in alignment and you feel you in integrity, which to me is one of the most important things when running a business.
all of what you said. Like even listening to you right now, my sacral, it almost like, and I would be so interested for my fellow gens that are listening, like to email me or DM me and let me know, what does that sacral on fire feel like for you? Because for me, it feels orgasmic. It's like a like a listening to you. I'm like, yes, like you are hitting it. You are really articulating it in such a way where it's like, going back to that formula that we were taught, in that sales environment, like the feeling you get from doing things that you're told you should be doing or that you're telling yourself you should be doing versus doing something that lights you up, that content or whatever that is, even dealing with certain types of markets. When I was trying to flesh out who I wanted to work with, it was like the people I was told I should work with based on my expertise versus who I actually wanted to work with. And it always came back to that. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Like in the sacral, right? And in that moment. I love
Absolutely.
it. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. Now, what would you say is your number one money block you've had to overcome in allowing more money flow into your business, or in your words, like having that feminine receiving energy?
I grew up in a middle class German household where everything was very organized and you would always live in your means or by your means,
Mhm.
which was like you make X amount, you spend X amounts, and I would never like cross that. And that made me feel really safe. But at some point in my life, I noticed playing just in that realm kept me stagnant to where I was. The
Mhm.
moment I learned to lean and trusting myself on a deeper level and investing in support, investing in coaches, investing in people that are broaden my mindset, broaden my skill set, that's when exponential growth actually kicked in. Not necessarily because I invested and I learned, but because I learned to trust myself on a deeper level. I learned to trust that I'm going to be okay no matter what. I learned to trust that I'm always figuring out a way to be taken care of, and I always have. So I'm not saying you have to invest ridiculous amounts to make money. That's actually not the point at all. But it's like, how can you expand on where you're at right now? For some people, it is just taking more free master classes or something. I'm not saying you have to invest, but for me, it was really learning how to trust myself on a deeper level, which is actually really leaning into your feminine. The more you have that self-trust, you're very receptive for money overflow.
Yeah. Yeah. And, along the lines of what you just said there, it's like taking that, because yes, there are so many amazing resources out there that are free, right? But when you spend the money, especially like money I was spending that I didn't have, but I knew something in me was saying this person will help take you to the next level. But it was gonna put me, like in a outside of that comfort zone of what I was bringing in versus what I was spending on this investing, in myself and my business. You have to be at a place mentally where you trust yourself that much more than the doubt, right?
100%.
Because I feel like you don't really show up if you go into some partnership or a relationship with a coach or a mentor, whatever, something that can help elevate you to the next level, and you don't have that mindset there. I feel like you don't fully show up. But when you're like, look, I am all in from the beginning, and I'm investing this money and it's scary as hell, and oh my God, you find the ways to show up even when it's uncomfortable,
Yes,
right?
you become the person that can invest that amount of money. You become, from a person who was someone who would not do it, you become a person who you can play with larger amounts of money. You just learn how to handle the energetics of it, how it feels in your body, how it lands, and how to manage yourself through all of this. I believe so much of success has to do with the bandwidth that we have of what we energetically can hold, right? There's people that have troubles just juggling a 9 to 5 job, they feel overwhelmed by everything, by every traffic jam they're hit, or any little thing is like throwing them off their very small bandwidth. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. We always have the choice and the ability to expand our bandwidth. But if we are desiring larger amounts of money, we have to increase our capacity, our bandwidth, to actually hold it and everything that comes with it, because there's always going to be the duality of life. So with more wealth, or with more clients, with more business success, there's always going to be another side to it that we need to learn how to hold. Maybe more difficult conversations. We have to hold other people's whole energy and the life that they're living, with the good and the bad. Like, it comes always with this duality. And what we need to do, I believe, as business owners, really working on our capacity. How much bandwidth do we have, and how much bandwidth do we need to become that person that can have that level of success that we desire?
Yep. That is so spot on, because I feel like, man, if you don't work on expanding that capacity, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're still going to hit that ceiling. Like, I have a mantra: I expand my capacity for love, success, health, and happiness every single day as I inspire others to do the same, right? So going back to that, on those days when I was like, what the hell are you doing, Tierra? Like, what you could be doing, this is comfy, you can make this money, or you could be doing what I am currently doing. And that is scary when you're first starting out and you're trying to figure out the things, but it comes down to expanding that capacity, as you just said. Like, I think that mantra got me through like a good year of just trying to calm my nervous system and regulate my nervous system for like, it's one thing to desire more, but can you, as you mentioned, can you handle more? Are you at a place where you can truly handle more?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the universe is always giving you, I'm sorry, go ahead. What are you going to say?
That comes often with like having a solid foundation, really understanding your masculine and your feminine side. So understanding, having a masculine structure in your business and in life where you can lean back into, like, or is there something you energetically or really have to clean up? For example, if you are like, your house is a mess, it's really difficult to expand your business and your life if like you can't handle the simple things that are already there. It's like, how can you clean things up in your current life, the way things are right now? How can you create a stronger foundation of what is your finances, like the way you spend and the way you invest, and like, is this really solid? That's when you can expand. Or the same as with your business. Like, if you're having trouble signing 1 or 2 clients with the current offer, like I suggest you get really good in that before you bring out a million other things and think about scaling your business. Like, focus on a foundation and feel safe in that foundation. Create that masculine structure that can really hold you where you at. And then you can think about growing and scaling and expanding. It's like, so often we get this shiny object syndrome because we see what other people are doing, but they have done the groundwork. They have a really solid foundation in their business and in their life. So they have the ability to expand and grow. So really getting solid on what is and the foundation that we have in our business and life, I think, is essential to have to grow.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. And especially for our fellow generators, listening to this, when we, circling this back to that capacity, like when we hit our current capacity, we get that frustration, right? So sometimes that frustration is going to let us know, okay, this isn't aligned. But there are moments when we hit that frustration because we're hitting and reaching into our next level. And it really comes down to understanding, is this a place where you need to expand your capacity to get into that next level and move through and push through that frustration? Or is this something where it's not foundationally sound, like you're saying? And so that's why you're feeling that frustration, because it's something that you possibly should pivot out of before you continue working and working, because, we have such a problem problem. Once we say yes to something, like we're in it, right? So understanding as a generator what that comes down to. Well, I have so loved our conversation today. This whole this whole talk around energetics and feminine sales and all of the things, I am so here for it, because I truly believe that. And keep in mind, because I know that I have some male listeners out there as well, you have that feminine aspect of sales to you, as in addition to just the women out there. But I truly believe that we women do such amazing things when we are in flow, in alignment. We do amazing things with our money, right? We come from a very heart-centered place when we have success. And so I just, again, I thank you for doing this type of work, Charlotte. Now, I want to ask you something I ask all of my guests. Who is inspiring you right now? You can think of one person.
Who is inspiring me right now? I am really inspired by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm actually listening his book over and over again, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Yep.
To shed some of things that I want to shed at the moment. So I'm listening to it, and he has made some huge shifts in my life just through his meditations and the incredible work that he's done.
Yes, Joe is the man. I love that. Now, second question, what is the best advice you've ever received? Or is there a quote that like you come back to, when things are like a little going on in your life?
Best advice that I've ever given is, it's so simple, we hear it all the time, but it's honestly being unapologetically yourself. And that's like sometimes so much easier said than done. And it's something that there's always another layer, always other things to shed, because we're so conditioned by society to be a certain way, to fit into the mold that people want to see us, that sometimes we forget who we truly are. And that's why I became such a huge fan of human design and the work that
Amen.
you do. Yes. So become you, like, and it's a lifetime process probably, but the more you trust yourself and go all in, and all the things that bring you pleasure and joy, and vocalize that, express yourself, your unique voice, and the way you see this world, your own perception, that's where the magic is.
Like becoming you. How powerful is that? I love it. I love it. Now, how can the Wealthy Woman by Design family get in touch with you, Charlotte?
I love connecting on Instagram. I'm at Charlett Albert. Come say hi, check me out. I also have a beautiful Facebook community where there's lots and lots of heart-centered entrepreneurs with free sales trainings, the feminine way. It's an incredible community. So you can check out my page, Sales and Feminine Leadership on Facebook.
Okay. So is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything else coming up?
I want to share that you came to this world as this powerful, magnetic, incredible human being. And I want you to lean into that, who you are, and get your human design chart read and follow that blueprint and listen to it, because there's so much magic on the other side. And stop trying to should and do all the other things that we've been told to do.
Oh my, I mean, Charlotte, I couldn't have said that any better. I'm telling you, for those of you who are listening who have not had your chart read yet, it will change your life. If, depending on, now it depends on who you get it read with. I will say that because, I feel like you have to be able to pull the parts of your chart that are really special to you in that moment. Like I look at my chart every month or so, and I still find pieces that are like, oh, like look into this a little bit more, or this conditioning, or whatever have you. So, but I can assure you that it's powerful when you actually can really lean into your true Design. And just for those of you who are looking to connect with Charlett, her Instagram is Charlett, Charlett, Albert, Albert. Okay, so make sure you follow her on social. Look out for her Facebook group as well. She has a really amazing networking community too on Thursdays. I had the pleasure of attending one. And just a good group of authentic, real women in there, business owners, just great conversation. So if you are interested in that, make sure again you reach out to her. If you've enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend or three so we can spread the value, spread the love. And again, if you're looking for support in shifting your money mindset and learning your human design to become more fulfilled, more aligned in your business, in your life, removing those money blocks or need more free time in your calendar, please reach out to me. Let's have a chat. You can DM me at The Brave Way on Instagram or send an email, hi@thebravewaytribe.com. And all of the ways to get in touch with me and Charlett will be in the show notes as well. So Charlett, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Tierra. I really love the conversation.
Yes. All right, family. Talk to you soon.